Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube NFL prediction segment, I'm going to be giving you my picks and analysis for Week 8 of the 2017 NFL season. First game, I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens at home to defeat the Miami Dolphins. Baltimore right now, I see them coming out with a lot of urgency. They will be at home. Miami has to go there on a short week on the road. Miami has won 3 consecutive games, though, but Baltimore is averaging a few more points per game than Miami. I mean, Baltimore's averaging 18.6 points per game, Miami 15.3. The one advantage Miami could have would be with their running game. Running back Jay Ajayi could really get it going in this game because they're going up against a run defense that is number 32 in the NFL. However, quarterback Jay Cutler will not be playing likely for Miami in this one. And I do think this is advantage Baltimore overall. I like the Ravens to win at home. Now the next game, I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings on the road to defeat the Cleveland Browns. Vikings are starting to make a believer out of me. Even though they're on the road, they're still 4-6 on the road since 2016. They are playing the Browns. They've only thrown 2 interceptions this season. Cleveland has thrown 17. And, I mean, wide receiver Adam Thielen, he's having a sensational season, one of the best receivers in the league right now. I don't know if the Cleveland secondary is going to have an answer for him. Cleveland is only averaging 14.7 points per game, number 32 in scoring offense. They are ravaged with injuries, I believe, and on top of it, they're just a bad team anyway, and then they're losing players on top of it. I don't see any way that they're going to win this game. I like Minnesota on the road. Next game, I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills at home to defeat the Oakland Raiders. If you were talking about this game before the season started, I would have actually gone with Oakland, but Oakland does not seem to be the world beater they once were last season. They and Marshawn Lynch, I don't think he's going to be playing this game, so that's going to be their detriment as well. Buffalo, 9 defensive interceptions, and Oakland actually, they have 0 defensive INTs. I think the defense for Buffalo is going to be very good in this game. I think it's going to contain the Oakland Raiders offense. Now, Buffalo is 3-0 at home as well, and Oakland is, of course, on the road in this one. Oakland is only 1-2 on the road, so I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills to win this one at home. Next game, I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals to beat the Indianapolis Colts. I understand Cincinnati suffered a terrible loss to Pittsburgh last week. Pittsburgh just subjugated them. They were just in control, and they just really demolished the Bengals. But Bengals still got quarterback Andy Dalton and receiver AJ Green. They have won the last 2 times against Indianapolis at Cincy. Indy will likely be without Andrew Luck. And they're also 0-3 on the road this season. Their pass defense is just terrible. They've also allowed 29 sacks, which I think is most in the NFL. They have had 2 games this season in which they've allowed 10 sacks. Last week was one of them. And I don't know if their offensive line is going to be much better in this particular game. I like Cincinnati to win at home. Now, next game. New England, right now, we say the resurgent New England Patriots, won 3 in a row. I'm going to take them to win over the Chargers this week. They're number 1 in total offense. I understand their total defense may not be stellar, but it has improved over the last few weeks. They've only allowed about 13 points per game over the last 3 games during this winning streak. The whole team is starting to come together and play cohesively. I think they're hitting their stride right now. The Chargers have won 3 consecutive games as well. Never say die quarterback Philip Rivers. He keeps on playing regardless how his team is. He never seems to get too down. He's got really very expansive and upbeat type nature. I think he's great. I mean, and he just plays hard just all the time regardless of the team's situation. And with him around, you always got a chance. However, the Chargers have not fared well on the road in recent years. They're in their last they are, since 2015, they are 5-14 on the road. I think it's going to be 5-15 in the last 20 after this one. I like New England to win at home. Next game, I'm going to take the New Orleans Saints to win at home over the Chicago Bears. New Orleans has won. They're on a winning streak right now. They're averaging 33 points per game during their streak. Right now, quarterback Drew Brees, he's playing phenomenal, and they've only allowed 5 sacks. The offensive line, the unheralded offensive line, I should say, is doing wonders for this team. You might not be hearing much about it, but I think a lot of that has to do with New Orleans' recent streak. Now, Chicago Bears, they've won their last 2. They got a little swagger going. However, they're number 31 in passing yards per game. I see New Orleans, the offense is going to be better, and it's going to have more sustained drives. They're going to dominate time of possession, and I like them to win this game. So anyway, I take the Saints at home. Next game, I was mulling over this one for a little bit, but I'm going to take the Jets reluctantly at home to win over the Atlanta Falcons. I understand the argument for the Falcons that they may come out with urgency. They've lost 3 consecutive games, and there's talk. Well, is Atlanta still for real? Are they still a contender now? And their season could be on the line right now. Well, the Jets right now, Jets have actually been competitive in their last 5 games. They have played very well. I know they lost their last 2, but they've at least been, putting up a little bit more points than Atlanta. They are going to be at home, and Atlanta's been outscored 66-41 in those last 3 games. The offense has only averaged about 14 points per game in that stretch. Wide receiver Julio Jones is going to have to come up big in this game if they have a chance to win. I think he's going to get his yards, but I don't know if it's going to be enough for them to defeat the New York Jets. The New York Jets looked like the beginning of the season they were in some reclamation project mode. People were actually speculating about them tanking. I don't think that's the case. I think they're going to come out in this game, and I expect them to play very well. They could have easily won the last 2 games. They had a controversial call go against them in New England, and then last week it came down to a field goal at the end that won it for Miami. Jets could have actually won 5 in a row. I'm going to take the Jets in this one. They just look like they've been playing a little bit better in recent weeks as opposed to Atlanta. Now, next game. Wow. Who would have thought Philadelphia would be in first place right now? I sure didn't. I'm going to take them to win at home. No shocker here, over the San Francisco 49ers. Philadelphia right now is 9-2 at home. Since last season, quarterback Carson Wentz is leading the NFL in touchdown passes right now. The team is number 2 in time of possession. San Francisco, on the other hand, is number 32, dead last in time of possession. They're only averaging having the ball for about 26 minutes per game. 49ers are 1-11 on the road since 2016. This team just finds, they're like the Browns. They just keep finding ways to lose. San Francisco has been competitive in a number of their games, but in this particular game, going on the road against a very hot Eagles team, I think it's going to be a very daunting task. I like the Eagles to win at home. Next game. I want to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home to win over the Carolina Panthers. Tampa Bay, despite some recent struggles, they are number 1, I believe, in passing yards per game right now. 2-1 at home. They lost a close game to New England. That was the only home loss they had. Carolina right now, they're starting to get ravaged with injuries. Tight end Greg Olsen probably won't play. Luke Kuechly, his status is questionable. The team right now is just making too many mistakes. They're -9 turnover differential. And quarterback Cam Newton had 3 on his own last week. They just have, I mean, they really, Carolina is just having trouble in terms of, I think, mental errors in making mistakes, and this turnover thing is getting out of control with them. Tampa Bay is at home. I think they're going to make less mistakes in this game, and I like Tampa Bay to win at home. Now, next game, I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks at home to defeat the Houston Texans. Seattle right now is surreptitiously moved into the #1 spot in scoring defense. I mean, I was looking at them, and they didn't, it seemed like they were like world beaters like they had been in the past. They don't seem like that dominant team, but they're starting to get things together right now. I think it actually started at the end of the game they had against the Titans. The offense looked like it was starting to come together, and I think it's carried over. The last 3 games, they have outscored the opposition 86-35. And defense, I mean, you have cornerback Richard Sherman is a great leader, great player. He's, he's still, I mean, I see him as like basically the leader of that defense. And Houston right now coming off a bye and no J.J. Watt. I mean, Houston, as far as anything positive for them in this game, they are 4-1 coming off a bye since 2012. But I want to see how their young quarterback goes in there after a bye, and having to go into a place, Seattle may not be as dominant as they had been in years past, but they're still a very good home team. I don't see why they can't win this game, and they're also on a roll, winning 3 consecutive. I like them to make it 4 in a row. I'll take Seattle in this one. Now, next game, I'm going to take the Washington Redskins at home to defeat the Dallas Cowboys. Washington right now, what I think is going to happen, maybe perhaps in this game. Okay, Dallas comes off a game in which they annihilated the 49ers last week. I understand they feel their swagger. They're going to feel confident going in this game. But keep in mind, Dallas is Dallas is 3-3, just like the Redskins. Dallas, the combined record of the teams Dallas has defeated this season, 4-17. So, I mean, I think it's a little bit telling. Now they got to go on the road against a Redskins team that's going to come out, I think, with a lot of urgency. Right now, Kirk Cousins still wants to prove he's worth every bit of the contract he has received. And you look at this, Washington also hasn't lost 2 in a row since week 12 and 13 of 2016. They're a team right now that they're having their own issues. And the thing about it though is, I mean, just like Dallas, they're both the same record. But right now, I think in this particular matchup, I do like Washington to win it. You look at Dallas, I mean, another thing that could be in their favor, I understand they have a great running game. They're #2 in rushing yards per game, but Washington does have a very good run defense, and I think that might help. It's going to contain Ezekiel Elliott in this one. Washington is #9 in run defense, and I think they will contain the running game enough to help propel them to victory, and I like Washington to win this one at home. Next game. Well, this is a tough one too. I mean, Detroit is at home against Pittsburgh. I'm going to take the Steelers to win on the road against the Detroit Lions. Right now, I mean, Pittsburgh is actually a very good home team this season. 3-1 on the road. They have 24 defensive sacks right now, and Detroit has allowed 23 sacks. Their offensive line has not really been overly impressive this season. The thing about Detroit, though, interestingly enough, they are flawless 5-0 coming off a bye week since 2012. So it's something to look at. This game will probably be very close. Matthew Stafford still, very good quarterback. But Ben Roethlisberger, I kind of sense right now he's on a little bit of a mission. There was some talk some weeks ago that he speculated out loud that he wondered maybe if he didn't have it anymore. I kind of wondered about the veracity of the statement. Actually, I was thinking maybe it was a little bit of reverse psychology, or what I'm not reverse psychology, but maybe giving the other team he would play next week a little false sense of security, so to speak. So I think Big Ben is going to be fine. I think they're going to continue their little streak. They've won 2 consecutive games, and one of those games defeating Kansas City, then Cincinnati. They look very good, and they got a little bit of momentum going right now. So I'm going to take the Steelers on the road. Last but not least, I'm going to take the Chiefs at home to beat the Denver Broncos. Denver's only scored 10 points in the last 2 games. Their offense has just been putrid lately. Kansas City, right now, okay, they've lost 2 in a row, but they are still, one of the best scoring offenses in the NFL, nearly averaging 30 points per game. Running back Kareem Hunt, he is averaging 5.8 yards per carry right now. He is a beast. The team itself, quarterback Alex Smith has no interceptions this season. They have thrown 0 this entire season. The Chiefs win by playing, nearly mistake-free football. That seems to be their modus operandi for winning. They're not a flamboyant or flashy team. They just go in there, they play hard, and they just get the job done week in and week out. Understand their pass defense may be suspect, but it's a very well-balanced team overall. They lost a very close game to Oakland the previous week. It was the last seconds, I believe, and they could have easily won that game. The only other loss they had was the Steelers, and that was a close contest as well. The one good thing for Denver, though, is their run defense, and this is going to be a good battle between running back Kareem Hunt and Denver's run defense, and what's going to bend a little bit more. I'm going to go with the running back for Kansas City, and I think the Chiefs' offensive line is going to win that battle in the trenches. Now, and it's not to take away from Denver's run defense, but have they gone up against anybody like Kareem Hunt yet? That run defense will be well tested in this particular game, and I think the Chiefs are going to win that battle, even if it's just by a little bit. I think Kareem Hunt should get 100 yards anyway, and I like the Chiefs to emerge victorious in this one. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube NFL prediction segment for my Week 8 picks and analysis of the games for the 2017 NFL season. And until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.